Welcome to Movies in the Making. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 2008 superhero action film Iron Man, originally released by Paramount Pictures and directed by Jon Favreau. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, has been around for over 15 years, and it all started with this film, being the adaptation of the character from Marvel Comics it is. And you better believe that a film responsible for starting an expanded universe would itself have a lot of effort put into it during production. So, sit back and enjoy the show. You are all in for a metallic ride. The idea for Iron Man began as a standalone comic book adaptation, not as the first entry to a shared universe. Prior to 2004, Marvel Entertainment had licensed its characters to other studios, but in that year, they decided to produce their own films for Marvel Studios, starting with Iron Man. The project was in development for years, with various studios attempting to bring the character to the screen, but it was only when the rights returned to Marvel that the project truly took shape. Despite being an untested independent studio, Marvel secured director Jon Favreau in 2006 and cast Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, despite initial resistance due to Downey's past issues. The script underwent numerous revisions, with early plans for the villain to be the Mandarin, before ultimately shifting focus to Jeff Bridges' character, Obadiah Stane. Jon Favreau became the director of Iron Man after Marvel Studios, under Executive Vice President Kevin Feige, considered various candidates for the job. Favreau, best known for the indie film Swingers, Miramax 1996, and the hit comedy film Elf, New Line Cinema, 2003, was chosen due to success with character-driven stories and his ability to manage a modest budget. Marvel had confidence in his skills, believing that his experience with smaller-scale films would serve the character-driven story of Tony Stark well. Favreau's advocacy for the casting of Robert Downey Jr. in the lead role, despite concerns over Downey's troubled past, further solidified his commitment to the project. As the director, Favreau had the creative freedom to focus on plausibility in portraying a grounded superhero story, making him a natural fit for Marvel's vision. Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Tony Stark in Iron Man despite concern from Marvel's board due to his troubled past with substance abuse. Marvel Studios' former president, David Maisel, played a crucial role in advocating for Downey, arguing that his charisma and personal struggles made him the perfect fit for the character. At the time, Downey's career was in decline, and the board was leaning towards Timothy Olyphant for the role. However, Maisel convinced the skeptical executives that Downey was clean and the right choice for the part, emphasizing how his personal demons paralleled the character's flaws. Downey's performance ultimately contributed to the success of the film, laying the foundation for the MCU and opening the door for the franchise's future. In Iron Man, the villains were initially planned to include the Mandarin and Crimson Dynamo, with the Mandarin even being teased as the primary antagonist during the 2006 San Diego Comic-Con. However, the filmmakers ultimately decided to abandon the Mandarin due to concerns over racial stereotypes and a desire to maintain the film's plausibility. Instead, they focused on the terrorist organization, the Ten Rings, which was vaguely associated with Middle Eastern origins. Although the Mandarin was cut from the film, the Ten Rings' logo, which appears in a hostage video early in the film, subtly hinted at the character's future involvement in the MCU. This decision helped streamline the plot and saved money by reducing the number of villainous characters, while also laying the groundwork for future storylines, including a Mandarin imposter in Iron Man 3 and the character's eventual true appearance in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Seven Rings. At one point during the development of Iron Man, the script took a very dark turn, including a scene where the villain MODOK, a giant-headed supervillain also from the comics, hacks into the Iron Man suit and forces Tony Stark to kill an innocent bystander. This graphic moment, which would have involved bloodshed and an unsettling moral dilemma, was one of the many bizarre ideas floated for the film. In addition to this, the possibility of Quentin Tarantino directing Iron Man was also on the table, a choice that seems completely at odds with the film's final tone. Tarantino, known for his unique and often violent filmmaking style, could have taken the movie in a radically different direction, making it much darker and edgier than what audiences eventually saw. However, these ideas never materialized, and the production ultimately shifted gears to find a more fitting vision for the character and story. Jeff Bridges was cast in Iron Man to play the role of Obadiah Stane, Tony Stark's mentor who later becomes the film's antagonist. Initially, Bridges struggled with the improvisational style of filmmaking employed by Favreau, which required actors to adapt quickly to the script, often working day by day. This approach was a departure from Bridges' usual preference for preparing his lines in advance. However, after adjusting his mindset and embracing the process, Bridges relaxed and began enjoying the experience. His character was originally planned as a red herring villain, but his role was developed into a more central figure as the story evolved. Stane's transformation from mentor to adversary was key to the film's plot, with Bridges bringing a dynamic performance to the role of a man who ultimately seeks to take over Stark Industries. Gwyneth Paltrow was drawn to the role of Pepper Potts in Iron Man due to her desire to work with Robert Downey Jr. and the strong cast, which also included Jon Favreau directing and Jeff Bridges and Terrence Howard. Although she was not a comic book fan growing up, she became intrigued by the world of Iron Man and studied comics to understand her character better. Paltrow was especially attracted to Pepper's strong, independent nature, seeing her as the moral center of the story who keeps Tony Stark grounded. The film also marked a comeback for Paltrow after the birth of her children, and she was selective about projects, choosing Iron Man because it met her criteria of an inspiring script and talented collaborators. Samuel L. Jackson landed the role of Nick Fury in Iron Man due to his likeness to the character in the Ultimate Marvel universe. This change occurred when writer Mark Millar decided to model the character after Jackson, his favorite actor, in 2002's The Ultimates comic series. Upon discovering this, Jackson himself, a fan of comics, contacted Marvel, which promised to include him in future adaptations. When Marvel Studios began producing its own films, Jackson's Fury appeared in Iron Man's post-credits scene, marking the start of a significant role in the MCU. Originally a fun Easter egg, Fury's character soon became a key figure linking the Phase 1 films and later played prominent roles in Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and Avengers: Age of Ultron. His presence even influenced the comics, with the original Nick Fury being replaced by his son, Nick Fury Jr. Robert Downey Jr. faced significant challenges when wearing the original Iron Man suit during the production of Iron Man. Due to budget constraints, the suit was largely practical, with limited CGI use. Downey recalled struggling with the helmet, which would close tightly over his head, leaving him unable to see anything. As LED lights illuminated inside the helmet, he described the experience as blinding, making it difficult to perform basic movements. By the time of Avengers Endgame, however, advancements in CGI and a larger budget allowed for a much more comfortable process, with Downey simply needing to wear markers for the digital suit to be added later, vastly improving his experience on set. Industrial Light and Magic played a crucial role in creating the visual effects for Iron Man, working on over 400 shots, many of which focused on the design of Iron Man's suit. Industrial Light and Magic, in collaboration with Favreau, aimed for photorealism in the film's effects. Downey Jr. wore Industrial Light and Magic's IMOCAP suit during filming, allowing the team to generate a digital version of the armor for scenes in Stark's mansion for intense battle sequences, including fights with the Ironmonger and F-22 fighter jets. The combination of CGI and technical expertise brought to life the brushed metal Mark II suit and the iconic golden red Mark III suit, earning both BAFTA and Academy Award nominations for their groundbreaking work. The visual effects team was led by Industrial Light and Magic's Ben Snow, supervisor, Hal Hickel, animation supervisor, Aaron McBride, art director, and Way Billheimer, producer. Iron Man was primarily filmed in California, with one scene in Nevada. The opening scenes, where Tony Stark's convoy is ambushed in Afghanistan, were shot on Route 395 near Lone Pine, California, with the Alabama hills serving as a stand-in for the Cooner Province. The famous scenes of Stark's mansion were filmed at Point Dume in Malibu, with CGI used for the mansion itself. Tony's high-speed drive down Pacific Coast Highway to catch a flight was filmed near Point Mugu, California. Other Californian locations include Edwards Air Force Base, which doubled as both Bagram Air Base and the site of Stark's press conference at Stark Industries, was filmed at the Massimo headquarters in Irvine. In addition to these, the film also used several notable locations for specific scenes. The Apogee Awards ceremony and casino scenes were filmed at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, the only location outside California. The Santa Monica Pier makes an appearance as Iron Man flies down the coast, and the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles served as the setting for the charity ball. This filming ironically happened before Disney itself purchased Marvel Studios and became the primary distributor for future MCU films. For the fictional town of Gulmura, scenes were filmed at the Blue Cloud Movie Ranch in Santa Clarita, where a set was built to replicate a third-world village. The Alancha sand dunes were used for Stark's crash landing after escaping captivity, and the final battle took place in various studio locations in California. Favreau's decision to shoot Iron Man without a firm script led to a chaotic production environment, with many scenes being improvised on the spot. This approach, which involved constantly reworking the script and often deciding what to shoot the day of, created a sense of unpredictability on set. While this kind of environment was stressful for some actors, Robert Downey Jr. thrived in the fluid, unscripted atmosphere. Known for his improvisational skills, Downey's ability to adapt and riff on his lines led to some of the film's most iconic movements. On the other hand, some of his co-stars, like Terrence Howard, found a lack of structure more difficult to navigate. Howard, in particular, struggled with the uncertainty of the production, leading to frustration as the film took shape without a clear, finalized script. Despite the challenges, the unorthodox approach ultimately contributed to the film's success, with Downey's performance being a key highlight of Iron Man's impact on audiences. Composer Ramin Djawadi's approach for the film broke traditional sweeping orchestral scores, opting instead for a guitar-heavy soundtrack that reflected the rebellious personality of Tony Stark. This idea was inspired by director Jon Favreau's vision, who believed in Stark's love for rock music, especially AC/DC, should be woven into the score. Djawadi faced the challenge of balancing the punchy, upfront sound of distorted guitars with the grandeur of the full orchestra, a task that required careful mixing and EQ adjustments. He achieved this by subtly doubling guitar parts to maintain their power without overwhelming the orchestral elements. This innovative blend of rock and orchestral music would become a hallmark of Djawadi's style, further developing in projects such as Pacific Rim, Warner Bros. 2013, and the HBO original series Westworld. As of the 5th of February 2025, Iron Man has a 94% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 78 out of 100 critics score on Metacritic, a 7.9 rating on IMDb, and a 3.7 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was about $140 million, and it grossed about $585 million following its initial release date of the 2nd of May 2008. Iron Man was chosen to launch the MCU largely due to the surprising results of focus groups conducted by Marvel. Although Iron Man was considered a second or third tier character at the time, with Tony Stark even relegated to a pseudo-psycho villain in the comics after the Civil War events, the focus groups, consisting of children, overwhelmingly chose Iron Man as the character they most wanted to play with as a toy. This led to Marvel to prioritize Iron Man over the other characters, like Captain America, who was initially considered for the frontrunner. Marvel CEO Ike Perlmutter, who had a background in toy sales, was particularly invested in the synergy between the film releases and merchandise, influencing the decision to move forward with Iron Man. When the Walt Disney Company acquired Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion in late 2009, it gained control over a vast array of intellectual properties, including the MCU. This purchase significantly altered the trajectory of Marvel's films, including Iron Man, which had already been a huge success. At the time of Disney's acquisition, Iron Man had proven its box office potential, but Disney did not initially know the extent of the MCU's future success. This deal led to the transfer of Iron Man's copyright from Paramount to Disney, allowing Disney to fully integrate the film into its expanding portfolio of properties. This move paid off immensely, especially as the MCU continued to grow, ultimately reaching a value far beyond what Disney paid for Marvel, especially after the success of the Avengers and subsequent films. And that wraps up our deep dive into the making of Iron Man. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay up to date on all things movies in the making. Let us know in the comments what you think of Iron Man, or if you have any favorite moments from that film we did not touch upon, or what films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check out our community page, where we announce what films will be talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making, where we will be talking about Captain America, The First Avenger, Paramount Pictures 2011, and more films to follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we uncover the stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.